guys, to Two Girls, One Shelf.
Did you forget?
I did.
Welcome back to Girls on the Shelf.
We just sitting.
It's like Elf on the Shelf, but it's just us.
Tabby and Paul on the shelf.
With books.
Honestly, that'd be cute.
We need to get famous and then make Girls on the Shelf.
That'd be cute.
Yeah.
That'd be someone with a star on top of their tree.
Yeah.
You want to guess who's the star on top of my tree?
Oh, gosh.
Guess?
I don't know, man.
Yes.
It ain't David, so.
It's not.
Who?
It's old Greg. We have a photo of old Greg on top of our tree.
That's just iconic.
If you don't know who old Greg is, please look it up on YouTube.
Yes, because there's just some things you gotta know about swimming in his waters.
Do you drink Bailey's from a shoe?
Oh, yes. Do you love me? Are you playing those
You've
love
seen
games?
a mangina before. Oh man. Well guys, welcome back to our second part of Two Twisted Crowns. We didn't realize that we were going to be deep diving this hard into Two Twisted Crowns, so we had to split it up into two parts.
Yes, Paula's notes be thick about this book, so she is passionate about what happens in both of these books. But this one specifically, this one, she went hard. She was like, okay, 28 pages, here
Okay,
I am.
but look now, this is a 2-book series, okay? And she had to wrap up a lot of things, okay?
She did dive into a lot of stuff in the second book, but her notes are about as long as the second book, so
It's
perfect.
okay.
So we're going to jump right back into Two Twisted Crowns Part 2.
Whoop whoop. Alright, so our group gets captured by Blender's Blight, which was very hard to say. Just, Blender's Blight.
It's like Yoshi Blittle. Blittle.
This is like...
You did that so good.
No, man, look at me. I'm an author and I'm Yoshi.
Be careful, don't be doing that in front of David.
Scared. I'm scared. Anyways, but Blunder's Blight is a group of women who were infected and left Stone to basically live an unbothered life away from all these people that judge them. They hate the group that has, like, they have capture, which is basically, like, Raven, Jesper, Gross, and... and Peter. Because they believe that they're under basically the king's rule, and they don't believe that they're on their own path to go get the twin altar collar. Well, the twin altar cards.
Twin altar callers.
But
I'm gonna call on them alders.
Call me, beat me if you want to get them cards.
If you're gonna get them alders.
Alders. Well, one of the lady blows smokes into the faces of Raven, Jesper, and Gross, and this causes them to feel rage and basically start like beatboxing each other.
I thought of this scene from like White Chicks when she's like, like that is literally how I saw this play out in my head. She's like, and just all their faces,
and then they just all get mad.
Yeah, and everybody's just like.
That's a perfect explanation. I love that.
Like, you just see them come out, and then they're all just
like, your mama's so old.
Was it her breast milk?
Yeah. Could you imagine, like, poor little baby just like, oh, I'm gonna get some milk, like, just powder in the face,
just choking.
God. Oh man. But basically, she blows the powder in their face. And they start getting fighting, and basically they start feeling rage, and they start saying the worst things about one another. And there becomes like a heated moment between Raven and Jesper. And Jesper basically tells Raven that all the guards hate him, not because he's infected, which is what he always portrays, but because he always thinks that he's better than them. And Raven pops off with, oh, but I am.
Because why not?
I mean, he is better than them.
Yeah.
But Gross calls him a coward and a traitor. Gross.
Not even Gorse.
Look, I read it as Gross the whole time during this book, and I just could not call him anything else.
I mean, it is fitting.
It is, because he's Gross. Mm-hmm. But Raven he's not okay with this kind of disrespect from Gross. So basically he grabs him and crushes his windpipe. Like, it was so crazy to me, the scene, because it was just like, oh yeah, they fight and then just crush windpipe.
But it also gets crazy because after this scene, it whiplashes again, and you're like, I was invested in this moment. Like, invested.
Yeah, like, it was just wild. Like, it's just, and I don't know why, but, like, when I read that, I heard the crack.
Yeah.
Like, I just heard the of a windpipe.
Yep, just gone.
But Elspeth and Opal, she's actually here, you know, she's not,
she's
not an addict. She breaks up the fight and tells the leaders that Jesper is actually the one that warned them to run away.
And they're like, oh,
they're like, okay, now, I don't know why we blew the powder in the face, but okay.
It's like, dang, man, we suck, but whatever. But then we... That was so good. Wow, that was the best whip of my life. But anyways, we whip it all back, and then Hoth is found awake. And this part, I was like,
the devil is alive, and his name is Hoth.
And I can't stand him. So, Elm and Ione are asked to come visit him, and this is already trouble. Like, it already, something's in the air, and it ain't good. It ain't good.
It's Hoth.
Yes, but the king ends up trying to use the nightmare card to speak into Hoth's mind. Nothing happens. But eventually, Hoth opens his eyes and stares at Ione, which creepy.
Yeah,
because
freaked me out.
I pictured him just bedridden, like very Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but like sick grandpa.
Yeah, and I don't know why, but I picture him like a mummy, like he's like
just looking at Ione like,
or like for anybody that's read Verity.
Oh, yeah, like Verity. That's Verity. A good one. That's a good one. But shortly after, his eyes roll back and they don't open again. And we're just sitting here, okay, I hate that he's awake, period.
Praise
but whatever. God. The king confirms Elm signed the contract to be the next ruler. So Elm's already going to be king. Suck it, Hoth, who cares? But
like a big old toe.
The king's just like, okay, Elm, since you're going to be the next king, Hoth's waking up, don't really care about him. Who's going to be your wife? Who's it going to be? And Elm... it's just like, I'm just going to wait till the next feast to tell you. I'm not,
sorry, Daddy dearest.
I could keep it a secret a little while longer. And then the king is kind of upset at this. He's just like, dude, I want to know right now. And he whips out the skaith.
Look, man.
Whips out the scythe card. And he tries to use it on Elm, but Elm is quicker. It's like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Dude. That's what I see. I see Papa Blunder just come in and he's just like this. But Elm is over here, blue eyes, white dragon. So, just over here. Just really...
It's like friggin' battle bots.
That's literally how I literally picture it like they are in the duel of their life right now with the skate.
Oh my god.
But Elm says that he will never be treated like he was as a child in the hands of Hoth. So Elm was still mad about the whole situation where the king is trying to use the scythe on him, and he decides to go to Hawthorne House and he's going to retrieve Ione's stuff.
Because his boo ain't going to be ugly no more.
No, she's going to be beautiful.
Beautiful.
Beautiful princess with no gap tooth. Beautiful. But... up until this point, the king has been sending her in, like, ugly dresses. Like, I picture her looking like Dobby. I mean, for real, like, ugly dresses. Just coming in there looking like...
I just, like, imagine, like, these big, like... this big gray, just like an ugly gray,
yeah.
You know, and it's just like up to her neck, and it just like it
yeah.
yes, like it frillies over, you know, like that's how I pictured it.
Yeah, I could see that. But Elm invites her to the next feast with him.
No, he coming in hot. He's like, that's my boot.
Yeah, he's stepping into his kingly duty. He's like, I already got a plan. It's coming together. Bump Hoth, bump Dad. Whatever.
It's Elm's world.
Yep, and you living in it.
So we whiplash to another one, back to our other group, and we find out about the second barter. So to make it through, someone has to lead them through the dense woods. It can only either be Peter or Jesper, because Peter.
I just love the way you say it. I don't know.
I know. Well, I mean, Peter.
It could be Peter.
Peter.
That's
and Jesper.
That's my language right there. Yeehaw.
Yeehaw, yee.
Yeehaw.
But it can basically only be those two because someone has to give up their charm and basically become infected at this point. Which I was like, man, this is a wild second barter. You know, like it's just like the Shepherd King was doing this every single time.
Yeah, well, who was he giving up? Was he going mad and just running
into the woods? Well, it was his sister one time.
Oh, that's right. Mm-hmm. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
See, he's wild for some cards. Like, if I were the trees, I'd be lying on them too, man. This telephone game is gonna ride.
It really would have. It would have been bad. But at this point, Raven remembers how before setting off for the journey, the Nightmare mentioned, well, good thing we'll have an extra one when Gross was coming. Well, now Gross is dead. Now the group's mad, which I'd be kind of mad too that the Nightmare knew this whole time. But Gross was supposed to be that person. Mm-hmm. So in a way, I can see why he kept it quiet, because it was like, gross, basically, you're gonna sacrifice yourself, my man.
Yeah, you better die.
We choose you.
Yeah, Pikachu. But I feel like if everybody knows everything that's happening, it's gonna be, I guess, less authentic, you know?
I mean, yeah, but I love the Nightmare, but he needs to work on his communication skills, because my man got none.
No, I just like him talking to Elsbeth. He'd be communicating with her. I like how he don't communicate with nobody
else. That's his woman, okay?
Go, oh, Elsbeth, I'm gonna do this, all right? And then everybody's just sitting there like getting attacked, getting punched in the head, arrows. Like, poor Wick done got flicked. Like everything's going down.
I forgot about Wick getting flicked, man. Poor Wick. R.I.P. man.
Yeah, poor Pete Yerg.
Pete Yerg got sad. He got lift.
It's not funny. He died. Why am I laughing?
Because he got flicked. But Jesper volunteers, and Peter is basically like, no, she's too important. It's got to be me. Well, they settle on flipping a coin. I don't know why, but this is funny to me. It was just like, we got a huge decision to make, and someone's about to die, so let's flip a coin. Heads or tails, my friend. But Peter gives Raven this look. He's like, hey, I'm going to say heads, so lie.
Yeah.
Basically lie. That, if you flip the coin and it says tails, I want you to lie. But basically, Jesper, the bad bee that she is, she knew that Raven was lying. So she marches up to the trees, tosses her charm in as payment, and says, "You're not the only one who would risk anything for our brother. Are you with me?" Raven's like, "I'm right behind you, girl. I guess I got no choice.
I'm following your infected self into this mist, I guess.
Don't get me lost."
Yeah, someone take my snake head.
But Jesper, I don't know why, but this just made me sad. It was just the way that it was described, that Jesper's eyes just faded, and she just like tracked stars into the woods.
Yeah, because I picture her eyes going like milky white.
Yeah,
like,
I did too.
Just like misty eyes.
Yes,
literally.
and like her complexion also, like drains of color, is how I pictured it too.
Yeah,
just gone.
Yeah, almost Grudge Girl, but not as creepy. But then,
skirt.
Ione shows up in a beautiful gown. So this is the last feast. We're flipping back to that. And it was just great because no more. we're looking.
Yeah, she's looking flawless.
Yes. And they end up dancing together. And Ione says, "The more time I spend with you, Prince, the less I seem to know you." And I'm just like,
chicka, wow, wow.
I ain't Hoth. But, Elm says, "That is not what I want. I want you to know every piece of me, Ione Hawthorne," which is a rather terrifying feeling, if I'm perfectly honest.
Well, let me tell you, I don't know where this Elm, the poet came from, but I'm here for it.
Like, could you imagine just our husband being like,
I can't. Like, I cannot.
"I want you to know my inner darkest things."
Mine's like, I got clean undies.
Yeah, mine's like, "Hey, you know what a remote is?" "Babe, you see my keys?" And he's over here spitting bars.
It's like, "Hey, have you seen the mouse? Like, where's the mouse?
Yeah, have you seen it?" But then they step away to use the nightmare card. Elm stole it from his dad. Go Elm, steal it from your dad. Go ahead, steal his scythe too. Steal it all. But they go into Ione's mind, and they're trying to see if her memories will allow them to find the maiden card and where she hid it, put it, whatever. I guess it's hidden.
Put it somewhere.
Yeah, and then Elm starts to see how bad Hoth was to her, and he is really hating this. He's like, "Oh my gosh, my heart was breaking."
And again, I really got to know Ione a lot more in the story, so it made me like her a lot more, because in the first book, I just didn't know how to feel about her.
Yeah, because she went through a lot. So he ends up seeing how Hoth forced Ione to hide the card while she was drunk, and I think he said he did this with friends too. So it wasn't just Hoth, it was Hoth and friends.
Basically just making Ione a laughing stock.
Yeah, and then she was begging him to give it back, and if he wasn't, like, at least in the engagement, like, she didn't want any of this anymore. And Hoth's like, "Nah, girl, like,
you stuck with me now.
Yeah, we bad together. You stone cold and I'm just mean." But this is the part that broke me the most, though. We find out that the night that Hoth made the group use that chalice card, he was mad at Ione for not telling him that Elsbeth was infected. So, of course, he's going to take it out on Ione. Hoth ended pushing her out a window to kill her. Like, he pushed her out of the window.
Literal tower, okay? Like, not just a window. We were not on a one-story building.
No,
like a whole Rapunzel tower just got yeeted.
And then this is the problem. part right here, because obviously she should be dying. So the way that Rachel wrote this scene literally crushed me, because the way she described Ione just laying there.
Yes, like, could you imagine just staring up into the sky while waiting for your body to just be knitted back together? It is so freaking sad.
And then you don't know that's what's going to happen. You don't know any of that's going to happen at this point. You're just laying there and you're like, holy cannolis, Batman. And then your body starts piecing itself back together, but that she still can feel all this stuff, even though she's stone cold. Like, she felt
physical
everything.
pain she can still feel.
Yeah, so she literally felt herself dying, but had to endure it, which is just heartbreaking.
You know what it reminded me of is, like, you know, the Nightmare Before Christmas, Sally is just like piecing herself back together.
Oh, I know.
That's what it made me think of.
Oh my god.
It just, and it just, again, concrete. I'm so glad that Rachel made us understand Ione a lot more in this book.
Because I did not like her. I was like, this is a crappy person, but now I understand why she is the way she is, and she has so many secrets that nobody needs to know, and she doesn't really want people to know, because she doesn't want people feeling sorry for her. She is a strong, independent woman, but I thought it was so crazy that when she was healed enough, she got up, and she walked back to her house, and that's where she runs into Elm. Yep. So literally, after she gets thrown out of a window, she walks home, and Elm's like, "Sup, Ione, what you doing here?"
I know,
like,
she gets taken.
I know, not even knowing that she was just thrown out of a window and just went through this horrible time. So crazy. But Elm sees a clue in her memories of where the maiden card could be, and they go to the throne room, and on the hearth, Ione finds the card, which is like,
thank God.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. But Elm says that he has one last barter for her, and I'm like, can we please stop with barters at this point?
I know, like, I'm tired. Can y'all just say we like each other and that's it? Why do we have to be so secretive about everything?
Yeah, I mean, understandably, this was a cute one, but at the same time, it's just like, dude, she got thrown out of a tower. You just saw that, and you're gonna be like, hey, I got another deal for you to make. Like, you just saw her fall from a tower. Leave her alone. But he's just like, okay, this is what I've got in plan. You're gonna be the next queen if you'll have me.
Bow, wow.
Yeah. Like, and then it's just like her contract states that she will marry the heir, but not specifically Hoth. And he's just like,
let me tell you,
it's me.
Elm is a lawyer, okay? He's like this criminal defense lawyer. He just be reading all the fine print.
And I love that he was investigating it the whole time. So he was putting in all this work because he's like, I want to be with Ione. Obviously, I want her to be willing to do that, but this is a way for her to get away from Hoth, but also me to be
put in the hole.
Yeah, ready for Gap.
Elm in the hole!
And then Elm basically starts trying to sell himself, like, I'll be your king, but always your servant, never your keeper, like, spitting his bars again.
Yep.
And then Ione's like, you look good in this chair under me.
It's like, oh my god, my girl is thirsty. Like, somebody get her a Sprite.
Like, somebody needs to slap her with some cool water, because that was just too much. She's supposed to be stone cold, and that was just too nasty. But Elm, which I hate the way it's worded.
I know.
When I bed you.
I know.
But when I bed you, Ione, I want you to feel it. I like the real you.
He's trying to get in that hole, both of them. The gap tooth and down below.
Shut up. Not the gap tooth. Like, Lord have mercy. But basically, he's like, I want you to be free from this main card, and I want you to want me. I want you to looking like me in 2008. That's what I want. Which, I'll be the queen. That's fine.
I know, man. She's representing the gap-toothed women, all right?
Yeah, so things get a little steamy.
It's just a bunch of dry humping. I was just annoyed at this part.
But that's still steamy.
I mean, it is, but just like, why we dry humping? Like, just take the pants down. Unzip the button.
But Ione ends up grabbing his hand and takes him to her room to ask if he is sure that this is what he wants, which is so weird that she's still self-conscious even with the cold heart, because once she deactivates the card, it will hurt due to all of her feelings rushing back. So basically when she taps that card,
terrible.
All of it, even falling out the window, like all of it is going to come back, and it's just going to be woo. Like,
that sounds so bad.
Yeah,
like, that is not something I want to experience.
Imagine like Elsa throwing out her powers, and stabbing her sister on accident.
I just feel like that's like a whole pimp slap of feelings, and I'm not into that.
Yeah, I just imagine her falling down, screaming, because I feel like that would be me.
Yeah.
But then he's just like, please, and Ione's just like, and the maiden fades away. Ooh. And then we see Gaptooth come back, Freckles come back. Here's the Ione we love, yee. And then Elm Elm is monologuing here, and he's like, there is not enough pages in all the books Elm has read, in all the libraries he had wandered, in all the notebooks he'd scrawled. That is so Southern.
I don't know why scrawled makes me think of like a chicken scratching his feet, you know, like
Just the three. He'd scrawled. Why do I say it like that?
scrawled.
What's wrong? It's like got some hay in my mouth.
Tobacco.
He scrawled in that good measure. Denote. I'm too ghetto to read this.
Right. Somebody else get Elm a publisher, okay? It ain't gonna be us.
But Elsie Silver, I got her. Yay. Fancy fantasy writing. We are. But he scrawled in that could measure, denote, or describe just how beautiful she was. And it, minus me ruining that moment for him. It was a really great moment. But Ione is hit with all emotions, and then she survived. Yeah, literally. John Cena just down into the ground.
RKO!
She's hit with all them feelings, and she tells Elm, she's like, go away! I'm feeling things! And he stays outside of her door listening to her cry. And I'm just like,
sad
my poor
baby
heart.
Elm.
But she eventually's like, all right, come back in now. And they cuddle, which is super cute. I was like,
Super smooth.
And then the next morning, they end up going for a horseback ride, and Elm feels free seeing Ione so carefree and back to her bucktooth self. And then
They're literally a good definition of soulmates. They really are.
I'm just so excited someone else has a gap tooth besides me.
And she's gonna be queen.
I swear. That's why I talk about it so much, because I'm just living in my moment right now. I was like, Rachel, thank you, because she was me.
To all the gap tooth homies.
Yeah.
All the gap tooth baddies. We're queens out there, Goop.
Yeah, I represent you, man. I feel you. I almost went and got a horse and rode a barefoot just to prove a point. But, we're going to chill out a little bit. But then after they go on this ride and they're just blissfully happy, they bare their souls to one another. And basically they're just true loving at this point. Just really loving. And it leads them to getting down and dirty.
Let me tell you. Ione is a freak, man. A freaky freak.
She was like,
because, like
just literally gave him a with love. And Elm's over here like, I just want to love. And Elm's just like, just affection, feelings.
Well, Elm is like trying to be so gentle with her. At this point, Ione is just like, there will be only pleasure with you and I, no pain unless we feel up to it or want it. Like, I was like, oh! I had to take a pause after reading that line.
Ione needs a spanking. She needs a spanking.
She does. It's like, homegirl is wild.
But after some peen time, Ione agrees to be Elm's queen, which, I mean, might as well. Y'all just got dirty in the forest, so.
She got the magic peen.
Yeah, and on their way back to announce their marriage, they hear the bell ring, which they're like, why is the bell ringing? And here we go. They go to Elm's room, and
the devil is back.
Yep.
Hoth.
Thumbs down. And then
back to the trees.
To the
trees. So back to this point, Jezebel's free riling through the woods and all this other stuff, but they won't let Peter through the woods because he's not infected. So he plans a way for them. Elsbeth is pissed to the nightmare because if Raven loses his sister the same way Taxus lost his, it will break him.
Yeah.
And which I agree with Elsbeth. He should have said something prior to this. But at this point, Nightmare's dropping rhymes like he always does, and the U's do not break. They bend.
It's like, thanks.
Can we just talk normal? Does it have to be rhymes?
You can be fine all you want until you gotta say something helpful. You'll just be like, oh, Elspeth, where are you? And then you'll be like, hear ye, in the forest, there are trees. Like, it don't make no sense. He'll be literally talking to Elspeth, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, he'll be talking normal, and then he's just like, hickory dickety dock.
Not dickety.
Isn't that what he says?
Dickory.
Oh, dickory.
You think about Elm and Ione. Hickory diggity dock. Elm went up the clock.
Ione got a dicking. And the spoon jumped over the moon.
You just combined a whole nother.
Is that not the same thing? No.
I think the cow jumps over the moon, not the spoon. It's hickory dickory dock. The mouse went up the clock. The clock's running down. He come hickory fuck?
There's nothing about a spoon or a fork in that?
No. And if there is, I ain't never heard it. I ain't never.
I could have sworn I saw a spoon, some sort of utensil.
The spoon jumped over. I'm really confused because now I want to know if a spoon jumped over a moon somewhere, or if we're just, am I tripping or are you tripping?
I swear somebody's got a spoon somewhere.
A spoon jumped over a moon somewhere. I believe her. You heard that from the trees.
It's from our telephone game.
Yeah.
But basically, they make it through the forest. They find Jesper under a tree, under the twin alder trees. And we find out that the trees have been luring people to feed them because they take away from the people and they send it back to the mist to basically give the people gifts of magic, which is wild to me. I was like, okay, so we just eating folks? Trees are eating folks?
Creepy, man.
I don't know. And the way that I saw it was just a root coming to them and then just like a straw.
Yeah.
Yes, like a straw, and then
like a mosquito tree.
Yes, and then the person would just like come like a raisin.
You see, I saw the person being grabbed by the roots, but being absorbed into the tree.
Oh no, I saw like mosquito.
You saw a mosquito straw tree.
Mosquito straw tree, and then just being left as like a raisin.
I'm weak. Just dropped to the ground. It's just like a frizzled old thing.
Yes.
I love that. I'm never going to be able to read that scene the same ever again.
Well, to get Raven to basically speak to the spirit of the woods, he has to give a little bit of his blood. And the trees say that only Raven can go. Well, the nightmare is like, nah.
The tree's been playing telephone, so they could be lying.
Yeah. We don't know what the trees are doing. We don't know if they're good, bad trees, or they're just living. They're just doing their own thing.
They playing some wild games. Wild.
It's like the trees are the mean girls.
They really are. They're just ganging up on everybody. Like, what?
The nightmare tells the trees to let Jesper go or he will cut them down because he doesn't want Raven to lose his sister and have the same fate that he did.
Sweet little nightmare.
I know. Well, the trees get mad and they sling Raven into the portal. They just like yeet him yeehaw into this portal, and the nightmare cuts Jesper free and jumps into the portal before it closes. Taxus follows because he doesn't want Raven to make the same mistakes that he did that led him to the fate that turned him into a monster. So he's still, at this point, he's trying to protect folks even though he's got bad communication skills because nobody knows he's trying to protect them. They just think he's just there for the ride. Yeah.
And which I love this because this is, like you said, where you start to have a different shift in the nightmare. Okay, because before, outside perspective, he just took over Elsbeth and whatever. Granted, we know that's not the truth. We're getting small glimpses of that along the way. But this kind of sealed that same fate. It's like, okay, why would the nightmare try to help Raven if he didn't care? Why would he be doing the things he's doing? Because what we know of the Shepherd King, he was selfish and all he wanted was the card.
So basically, he doesn't want Raven to just make the same mistakes as just like always wanting more power and like bartering with the Spirit of the Wood and not getting what he wanted at the end. Because the Spirit of the Wood, she's a tricky tree.
She crazy, man. Crazy.
But as they enter the portal, Jesper is sadly still not awake. So
which we don't know if she did. We don't know.
We don't know if the mosquito tree got her or what.
If she got raisined. We don't know. We don't know if she was raisined. But this next part of the book, I was definitely glad it stayed on the Spirit of the Wood and didn't whiplash back to Hoth because ain't nobody like him and I don't care how that finishes. But the Spirit of the Wood was so crazy. I was thinking of some wild Zelda character as this person, like one of the monsters.
Yes.
Because the way they described the Spirit of the Wood was just kind of crazy.
She was scary. Like, for some reason, the Spirit of the Wood, it just sounds like she's supposed to be just this beautiful, kind of holy being. I don't know why I expected her to be like beautiful, but kind of angelic in a way.
But she was beastly.
Yes, like she was demonic.
Yeah, so the Spirit of the Woods just got your card.
From her freaking belly, man. Like, all I saw was this thing coming out her belly button.
Yeah.
Like she was pulling lint out.
Yeah. Just like, got it. I'm holding on to this one. Waiting for you, Raven, you.
I choose you.
Go Web. But she's just like, come on, Raven, use the Twin Alder card. And then this will lead to a meeting of the minds where the last barter will take place. So we're going to figure it all out. The whole picture's finally coming together. And Raven's like, doop, taps it. And then we find out that Raven decided that he was going to use his blood to unite the deck once he got all the cards, which annoying, but whatever. And this surprises the Nightmare that he would just go all and be like, yep, I'm done. I'm just gonna save the kingdom, for Elsbeth's sake, but also to spare the Nightmare too. He would sacrifice himself to save them too. Mm-hmm. And Nightmare's like, you're Shepherd King? You do that for me? What?
Have you been listening to my rhymes, Raven? You?
Did the trees tell you to do that? Just over here, hot and bothered by it. But Raven turns to the Spirit of the Woods, saying he will gladly pay her price with his blood. And I'm like, no. I'm freaking out here because we just got Elsbeth back. And now we're about to lose Raven. That's what's about to happen.
Because at this point, I was like, no one's really died. Yes, people have died. Like, Wick got flicked. But, like, none of really the main characters have died. So, at this point, I was like, if freaking Raven you dies, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah.
I'm going to be mad.
Ruin the series for me. But he knows about costs, such as Emery, losing him to the sickness, losing Elsbeth, and then now his sister all over here sleeping or whatever she's got going on dead. I don't know.
She's getting rejuvenated from the juice that she lost.
Yeah, she's being juiced. She's being de-juiced, rejuiced, rehydrated. I don't know. She's laying on the ground. That's all I know. But the Spirit of the Wood takes Raven to 800 years in the past, and Raven calls her
a proper asshole, and I love that.
But she offers to heal Emery, Jesper, free Elizabeth, free Elsbeth, and protect Elm from an ill fate if he leaves the Twin Altar card with her. The second offer is for him to be king, and I was like, but Elm and Ione.
And also, Raven doesn't want to be king. Like,
he doesn't.
He truly doesn't. He just wants to live an unbothered life. He just is tired of all these masks he has to wear, all these folks he's got to say. Like, he just wants to be unbothered.
And I just thought this was interesting because she's preying on all the things that he doesn't want / wants. She's like, ooh, I know what you're going to pick.
All the love that he has. Because he was just like, basically, she knows that he doesn't care about anything else except for the people that he loves.
Yep, so she's just like, you could be miserable doing this, or you could be miserable doing this. Pick one.
Yeah.
But Raven's like, no, I don't like either one of those. And then the last option is for him to be able to leave with the card, he must tell the Spirit of the Wood his namesake, which we've already been finding out all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And she gives him 2 clues. One is a riddle that Emery has spoken before, that their last name was not you. Which we already know where this is going. Yep. 2, she takes him back to the night the Shepherd King dies. Brutus is the one that killed him and his children, and this made me so mad.
Brutus the crudest.
But we knew it was going to happen. We knew this was going to happen, obviously. Last name, Brutus Rowan.
This part got really kind of predictable in the story, and most of the time I don't like when stories get, like, very predictable, but I still love this book.
Oh, yeah. This is still, like, just coming full circle. Mm-hmm. But due to Brutus blaming the Shepherd King for, like, losing his wife, that's why there was so much anger. Brutus demands the Shepherd King to tell him where the Twin Altar card is, and the Shepherd King's like, nah, Trick, I ain't telling you. Like,
nah, sucker.
You're killing me. Like, what, I ain't telling you nothing, Brutus.
And you kill my kids. Yeah. Like, why am I going to tell you anything?
Nothing. But Brutus kills him and orders his guards to kill his children in front of him. So it's just so crazy, because this part is so sad. The Shepherd King vows to meet his children beyond the veil, which we already know Tilly and them are waiting for him. But it was also weird because the Shepherd King had been ignoring them the whole time. So it's like, oh, here's your redemption, good guy.
Exactly. At this point, I was like, damn. Like, it's just like, he basically, like, has ignored them for all this power from the Spirit of the Wood, and they're gonna die.
He's like, I'll see you on the other side, my beloved children.
I was like, I ain't waiting for him.
It's like, you took Mom's body for the mirror card, Dad.
I'm not waiting for him. I'm going.
But before the Shepherd King dies, he says to Brutus, he's like, because he's just be speaking in riddles.
Oh, Romeo, bow down, Romeo, for even in death I will not die. I am the Shepherd of the Shadows, the Phantom of the Fright, the Demon in the Daydream, the Nightmare in the Night. Christ. Like, you were channeling your Dark Lord right there.
I know, I was dying, man. That's how he sounded in my head, dying. Like, he's just spitting bars and like.
But those lines slap. They slap so hard.
I was like, that's a boogeyman story right there. That's some scary stuff. But as Brutus lies, we see a boy with gray eyes in the woods, Bennett, the oldest son, and I'm like.
It's coming around. Full circle, baby. Full circle.
Brutus uses the scythe and orders him forward, but Bennett doesn't move because he is immune.
Hey! Just like who?
Raven, you.
Yay!
But he's just like, yeah, my daddy already offered me a sacrifice to the spirit of the wood. You can't touch me. Like,
but at this point, I felt like I was rocking back and forth, like reading the book. I was like, oh man, it all makes sense now. I know his namesake. The lion lives. The Shepherd King lion lives.
So at this part, we're just like, Raven is your family, Shepherd King your family, y'all are a family. Ha! Yeah. Like, so hyped at this part, just loving it. But Bennett runs to Brutus and takes his scythe card. Is like,
not today.
Suck it, you killed my daddy.
Not today, Crutus.
Yeah, you can't use that scythe on me. And no one else. He ain't playing no games, but this is why we found out they lied about having the 4 cards because Bennett the Savage
It was like, not today, homie.
But I didn't realize the cards were so fragile, though. Or is it only the infected, the people that have the spirit of the wood can destroy them?
See, I don't know. For some reason, I pictured the Providence cards to be kind of like that black Amex card, the one that's like made with the, like that's got some weight.
Just sitting there like, give me a second.
That's how I pictured like the Providence card, like where it just got some weight. Like you toss it out, it's like
it just hits the ground.
Yes.
It's a dog. But crazy stuff. It's just so this whole. All of this scene was just driving me nuts. So we find out that the cards, I guess, are destroyable by Bennett. Who else knows? I love how we're like, oh yeah, this answered all the questions, and I'm like, hey.
I think you just made that in your head, though.
Yeah,
like that's just you like asking a question.
Yeah, it's not. This has nothing to do with Rachel. But
Rachel, we want to know.
But Bennett uses his mirror card to run away, which he's like, like, you can't use it on me, but I'll whoop there.
Mirror on the wall. Bennett say yeehaw and he gone.
Bennett say yeehaw. He puts it down. He's like, bye, Dad. Bye, Chili. He sees their souls on the other side. They just standing up. Just kind of breathe. He's like, bye-bye. Toodaloo. Toodaloo. But he disappears with a veil card. And then you flash forward to Bennett as a man saying marriage vows under the yew trees.
I know.
And
I really love this portion of the chapter.
And it's in the same meadow that his father died. And then Bennett as an old man placing the nightmare card into the stone above his father's grave. And then Raven ends the chapter answering with every bit of confidence, Taxus. My name is Taxus. And I was like, yes!
Raven, you right!
Shepherd King! King! Danky King! Final answer.
Like, thank God.
Yeah, this
Vanna
whole,
White, where you at, girl?
I was just living it. I was like, ooh, I bet the spirit of the woods pissed. I bet she didn't know he was going to know Texas was daddy. Like, she didn't even know he was going to.
Little grandpappy.
My great pappy. So yeah, me and him go way back.
I know him.
Yep, I've known him a long time, actually. Scratch me in the forest sometimes.
Took my woman to my sister. We got beef, but I guess we fam. In the club, we all fam.
I'm not going to be another Brutus,
Speaking of fam, we flashed back to Hoth being a butt face.
Lame.
Yeah. So he's basically using his scythe.
Good job.
And commands Elm and Ione not to move. So it appears when Elm returned the nightmare card that Linden, which is basically like Lipton soup. I called him Lipton soup. I don't know why. Lipton soup. Used it to get in Hoth's mind. And Linden was his BFF, his right-hand man. So Hoth told Linden about the maiden card. He tried to tell his daddy, but his daddy was always too drunk and just didn't know what was going on. Like, daddy was just drunk uncle, knew zero what was going on.
I just imagine him just sitting in the corner, like, kind of swaying, and Hoth's just like, hey, Dad. And he's like, wow, you hear that?
He's like, man, this wine sure is kicking hard tonight.
Who laced this? The maiden card don't do that. I don't want to be pretty. Just in the corner, just saying drunk things.
So, since Hoth could communicate with Linden and not his daddy, Linden used the maiden card to heal Hoth. So Hoth makes Ione activate the maiden card and makes her stab herself through the heart in front of Elm.
I hated this.
Same. because finally we're finally understanding Ione. We know that they're supposed to be number one boos, right? And then he has to watch her stab herself in the heart. Like, hasn't Hoth taken so much from Elm already? Why do this?
But why is Hoth such a terrible person?
Yeah, why is he an ass?
Like, I mean, I know Dad was a bad king, but it didn't seem like Hoth was this troubled kid growing up.
I mean, honestly, if anyone's a proper asshole, it's Hoth. It ain't the Spirit of the Wood.
No.
I mean, she's a little crazy, but I wouldn't call her a proper asshole.
She at least gave some hints. Hoth's over here just wrecking lives.
Exactly. But since that maiden card was activated, it took her a long time, but she finally started to heal, because at this point, it looked like she was about to die.
Yeah.
And so the king comes in, he's happy to see, he's like, my boy, my baby boy, he's alive. And Hoth ain't having that. Hoth says to the king that we should make tonight festivities in honor of him. But Hoth got a surprise for this man. It ain't a good one. So that night, Hoth poisons the king and blames it on Elm. straight to the point.
What a 5-year-old.
He's got all the daddy issues.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you made Elm the next heir, even though I was like, bedridden. You weren't coming back, my friend. You were not supposed to come back. What'd you expect daddy to do?
Yeah.
Live forever? Like,
No.
That wasn't gonna happen. But Hoth is mad because the king made Elm the next heir. Elspeth is still alive, even though she attacked him. And Raven was attempting to lift the mist. So Hoth just got basically this list of like, Daddy, I'm mad at you. Why'd you do all this? So I'm just gonna poison you. Yes. So Hoth wants to keep the mist because basically it instills fear in everyone, and that's how he wants to rule. So the king tackles Hoth, and he's giving him the scythe card to Elm. He's like, run, my boy. Take your woman. Take your woman to the trees and just go. So Elm gets Ione, and they ride away from the castle. Elm falls off his horse due to the pain from using the scythe card all the time, which I thought was really weird because I didn't feel like he was using it for that long period of time in that portion of the book.
For him to have mastered this ability, I felt like it should have been a longer period.
Yeah, like, why he falling off? Why is he in so much pain?
Yeah,
like, I thought it was. I don't know. For some reason, I just thought it was weird. But he's all sad. He's trying to protect his boo, and he's like, "Just leave me, Ione. Just leave me here, and I will be used as a bargaining chip from when Raven returns because he won't allow her to do it because that's his woman."
Yep.
So she begs him to come with her, and Elm says, "I wish we could have had those 100 years, Hawthorne." And I'm just like, why is he saying goodbye like this? You're supposed to be used as a bargaining chip. Like, you're supposed to be alive when Raymond comes.
This ain't the moment, Elm.
No.
Get your butt off the ground. Quit being a baby.
And at this point, too, it just makes me sad because Elm uses a scythe card and commands her to ride away and leave him.
Which was just such a cop-out. I hated it. Yes. I did not like it.
I didn't either because it's just like, she just stabbed herself in the heart. She healed. So now you're breaking her heart by making her go away.
Yeah, so Elm basically stabbed her in the heart, too. It was just like, dang, girl, get this gap-toothed girl a break. Give her a break. Seriously, give her some space.
Yes.
But anyways, here we go. We flash back to Raven in the Spirit of the Wood. But before she leaves him, she informs him that he has been using the Twin Alder card for a while. We've been doing this out the belly button for a while now.
The lint got him.
So it can make you lose time. So we don't know how much time he's lost. And I'm like,
what do you mean, Spirit of the Wood?
Yeah, so all of a sudden they are sent back to the edge of the forest, like, poof, there I am. Just boom.
Yes.
And then we find out it's been 24 days.
Oh, insane.
Dang.
But I was like, we have been here for a month. It took her a month to give him 2 clues.
Yeah, what's your name? 24 days. Like, I could just imagine her be like, like, it's just like slow-mo when they're actually talking.
What's your name?
Alexander Hamilton. Just every time.
What your name is?
Alexander Hamilton. Yeah. But it's now solstice, and they must unite the deck before midnight, so they are time crunching. And
they're they're riding back to the castle and they're like...
I could watch you do that forever. But Raven's like, wait, I need a break.
Like, excuse me, you've been hanging out with the Spirit of the Wood for 24 days and you need a break? No, my friend, we gotta go.
And even Elspeth's like, look, I won't ever kiss you again if you stop right now. We got stuff to do. Get over yourself, Twin Alder boy.
You want these lips? Keep riding.
Yeah, it's like, okay. So as they are crossing the lake, they run into Ione and Petire. And the Nightmare is carrying Jesper and does not want to let her go because this is like, it's my family. You look like my sister.
You look like my sis.
And Peter says, shove off, you ancient windbag.
Like, that's my boo.
What the heck, Peter? Like, where have you even been, dude?
I know. You're supposed to be waiting at the edge of the forest.
And
Where have you been?
You had 24 days days to come up with something to say to the Shepherd King.
That's it.
Ancient windbag is what you get.
That's all he had.
My guy, you are speaking to royalty. You are speaking to Raven and Jesper's grandpappy. And windbag is the best you can come up with.
That's it. That's all he had.
Peter's whack, man.
Oh, no. Well, now we're preparing for battle. So a Hoth brings Elm, I'm about to say brick.
Elm Brick House. Tyrion.
So Hoth brings Elm, Eric, and Tyrion to Castle U to use them as bait. Emery and Raven's parents are there as well and have marks all of them. Basically, Elm's just been like beating the crap out of everybody because he's like, oh, I'm awake, so I'm just gonna beat everybody up. So Hoth has used the scythe to make them tell him where Raven enters the woods, and basically they tell him the ruins, and they're gonna use Emery's blood to open the stone for Hoth. They're waiting for Raven, and then the squad arrives. So Raven is ready to basically beat up Hoth. He's like, you don't beat up everybody. You got my family out here. It's cold. Like Rachel's just crying. I feel like they were just out there naked. Like they were just in their underoos, just in
underoos.
Yes. Like just underoos. They got beat up. They got bruises all over them. Like I feel bad for them.
Yeah.
You know. But so Raven's pissed, and he wants to beat Hoth up to a pulp. And honestly, I'm here for it. Like I'm ready to.
And Raven just wanted to take a break, man.
Yeah.
This is just crazy.
I know. Bro, we don't have time for breaks.
Yeah.
But Raven is the only person that Hoth has ever been scared of, so I'm ready. I'm ready for this battle.
Yep.
So as they're fighting, Raven takes Hoth's scythe card and rips it in half. Again, where's this platinum card at? Because why are we just able to rip these cards in half so easily? And how have they survived this long?
Maybe it's only the U's that can do it, because
Maybe.
they are Shepherd King blood.
Maybe. That would make sense. Because it's only that family that can destroy them. They
Yeah.
can make them and destroy them.
Because that's the only thing I can think, because there's no way that these cards, if they were that flimsy, would have lasted all 800 years.
Yes, exactly.
No, I mean, they would have deteriorated into the wind by now.
So at the same time that Raven is ripping Hoth's scythe card in half, he stabs Raven in the ribs at the same place that Brutus stabbed the Shepherd King 500 years ago, and Raven falls. He ain't supposed to fall. He's supposed to be mighty strong bird.
I hate it.
I was pissed. But Hoth grabs the nightmare card and the mirror card and basically disappears and just leaves Raven to just bleed out in the snow.
So crazy.
So
man.
at this point, I think the nightmare's just he's doing his thing. His spidey senses are tingling because he can feel that something's wrong. Mm-hmm. So he runs off and he finds Raven. So Elspeth's panicking because in his mind, because of the state that Raven is in. He's just in there. And I can imagine like it probably looks really bad because it's just like they're just surrounded in white snow and there's blood everywhere. And so Raven tells Elspeth not to hate me.
And I'm just like, he's dying.
I know, because basically she told him that if he died, she would hate him forever. Which also a crappy thing to say.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Like
Wrong time,
like
my
Elspeth,
guy.
shame on you for that one, okay?
Wrong time.
But the nightmare asks Raven how long he can last. And Raven responds with, I was 10 minutes late to Spindle House, and I will be 10 minutes late through the Veil. So I was like, 10 minutes ain't long. We still in the middle of battle. Like,
Yeah.
It better be like 10 minutes times 8 because we need some time.
And what is he sitting there like, okay, based on the wind speed?
No, it's like,
sticks his finger in it. Okay, like the depth, 10 minutes. Like, how do you decide that?
But he did. Well, the nightmare is upset here because he wanted better for Blunder and for Elsbeth, which cannot happen without Raven. Mm-hmm. So the nightmare runs after Hoth. At this point, like also too, I'm tired for them. We got 10 minutes to save Raven and that's it.
Yep.
And I gotta run the opposite direction to go get Hoth.
The only one well rested is Elsbeth. She just chilling.
She's just in the mind like
She's just watching TV and popcorn.
The nightmare runs away to go after Hoth and promises that he'll be back. So the nightmare finds him and controls the trees and basically like pins him down. He's just like this 4-point restraints and it's just like taking him down to the ruins.
Not 4-point restraints.
He is. He got leathers, man.
He's getting his mosquito raisin thing ready.
And so the Shepherd King tells Hoth that Elm is going to be crowned. So he's spitting a little fire on Hoth and he's like, hey, I'm about to spit these facts on you, okay? So it's neither Rowan nor you, but somewhere in between. A pale tree in winter is neither red, gold, nor green. Black hides the bloodstain, but washes the realm. First of his name, the King of the Elms.
Were you just feeling, you were channeling
I was.
The King of the Elms.
The King of the Elms.
But I just love it. Literally, Hoth is pinned down like this, and he's just like, let me tell you a poem.
I know. Let me spit some lyrics on you, okay? While you're just like
he's just like,
the King of the Elms, all right?
Just poetry.
So basically, the Shepherd King leaves Elm and Ione to kill Hoth. They're like, all right, friends, mic drop. I said my words. You take him out.
Yeah, I moved the trees. Y'all Deidre.
So they take his charm and Hoth becomes infected. And they stab him in the heart, the same place that he made Ione stab her. To me, this scene was like wild because the way that it sounded that he was infected, I just saw just this kind of bubble of just infection that just went down his throat.
Yeah.
You know? It was like the mosquito went down his throat. Yeah. But it was the infection. So
it was wild, but he deserved it.
He did. So as his blood is spilled, the Providence cards disappear. And the only thing that remains is a singular card that Elm just puts in his pocket. He's like, all right, I guess it's mine. So
he puts it in his belly button.
With his lids. So I guess this belongs here. Spirit of the wood, put it there. Let's go there.
Put it where she put it.
So as they walk out of the ruins, they see a trail of blood back to the castle.
So Raven crawled back to the castle.
He's like, I ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Dan.
Now I don't even feel bad for him. Or my ice cream cone. It's just like... But he crawled back to the castle through the snow. His parents, John and Peter, carry him to the table inside. So now they're trying to Operation Save Raven. And he's... I don't know how many minutes he's got back, but I feel like tackling the trees...
I think it's been more than 10.
It has to be very close. But the nightmare comes blazing in and tells them, hold Raven down. And Elspeth's tiny body, hold Raven down. Stop it, guys. I got magic. He tells him to hold Raven down. He plans to use magic to heal Raven, and we're hoping all this works. Everybody's on their toes at this point. I'm on my toes in this book. So he's trying to channel the magic between the Nightmare, Emery, and Jesper. So Raven passes out, and he wakes up 2 days later. Praise the Lord.
Luckily, it wasn't 24 days.
Yes.
Like the last time he was apparently asleep.
Wild. But Emery is healed, thank goodness.
Yes.
And then the end of this book, when I tell you, I was crying. Like...
I wasn't crying because I can't cry because my eyes dry.
Oh, I was sobbing.
But I did have the feelings. I had the feelings. So at the end of this book, Elm shows Raven the new Providence card that he put in his belly button. And it's called The Shepherd. And basically it heals all those who are infected. Which I thought that was a really cool kind of ending to the book. That finally, everybody that was infected, if they choose to, they can be healed.
Yes.
So the Shepherd King asks Elm to tell Raven to wait to be healed until he returns, because he got something to say. He got some more facts to spit.
Yep.
So the Nightmare returns and goes for a walk with Raven to the woods into the chamber. As they walk, we learn that the United deck is gone, but the rest of the Providence cards remain scattered around the world. The Shepherd King admits that he felt like a father to Elsbeth, and he wanted to do right by her and better than he did with his own kids, because, let me tell you, I think he loved his kids.
He did. I'm about to cry again.
Oh, you're getting blotchy.
I am. This is so sad. I'm telling you, I can't. We can't talk about it anymore. We gotta get it off.
So he tells Raven that Elsbeth will not be healed if she touches the Shepherd card, and will basically just absorb all of the cards that were used to make the one singular card. So Raven asks if he will ever get to see Elsbeth on the other side of the veil again, which, I know, I'm starting to get chills again.
You can't cry, but I'll cry for you. Hey, I'm gonna be looking this way.
So the Shepherd King admits, again, poor communication skills. So the Shepherd King admits to Raven that all he had to do was rip the Nightmare card in half, and that Elsbeth would return.
Annoyed.
I'm so mad. So her degeneration will basically have nothing to cling to, and Elsbeth will just be like, peekaboo, I'm back. Yep. And then the Shepherd King will be laid to rest finally. So Raven is pissed, which understandably, because the Shepherd King had the means to return Elsbeth all this time. Mm-hmm. But we needed the Shepherd King for the story to play out the way that it did.
Because who can make the trees go...
Yeah, exactly. He was going to put Hoth in 4-point restraints.
Right.
So the Shepherd King says that he wanted to rewrite the path, and also did not want to say goodbye to Elsbeth yet, because, that's her daddy. That's her little nightmare daddy. Ugh. So the Shepherd King tells him to rip the card in half.
Sweaty.
Oh.
See my fingers?
So the Shepherd King tells Raven to rip the card in half, and Raven asks, don't you want to say goodbye? And of course the Shepherd King got to pop off with, to you, wicked bird, and Raven says, to her, parasite.
Which was appropriate.
Yes, very appropriate. So Raven tells the Nightmare goodbye, and as he walks out, he waits 10 minutes, because, 10 minutes is Raven's thing, mm-hmm. And then he rips the card in half. So then we flash back to a little part before the nightmare card goes away. And so in Taxus and Elsbeth's goodbye, they recite the story that he would always tell her as a child.
I was sobbing. I'm about to sob right now.
It's too much. I got like a little water. It's not gonna fall, but I got a little wetness.
It was so good. I just remember it's flooding back.
I don't know why, but when Raven's ripping the card, I kind of see the nightmare, like little pieces of him just floating away really slowly, as if like paper was like,
don't talk to me. Stop. You can't look at me.
Well, then we flash forward to a scene, and Raven is using the mirror card and tells Elsbeth that Taxus is in the Vale with all of his children.
And it was just so special, but I read this part out loud, like their little poem thing, because I was just like, it's just too good not to.
And it's just, I love that it's like, I got goosebumps. Look, I can't cry, but I got goosebumps.
You got the goose.
But I just thought it was so sweet and a really good symbol of their relationship, especially just because, I mean, he kind of was a dad to Elsbeth, and as far as just like the fatherly like protection aspect of it.
Yeah, he was literally her only friend.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, minus Ione.
Yeah, but she couldn't tell anybody about him.
Yeah, he was a constant in her life and a male role model. Like, I mean, he had to go through all the things, puberty, everything with her. He went through it all with her.
She had to feel all the feelings with Raven, everything.
He was literally ride or die, no choice. Like, no choice whatsoever. I mean, I guess when you have a bond like that, you can't...
Look, he can't just say goodbye.
Yeah.
He can't just say goodbye.
Can you imagine Grandpappy just sitting there looking at Raven like... This is one of my offspring.
I just see him like in Elspeth's mind in a rocking chair, like, dadgummit, Raven.
Of course you picked this one. I guess you like me too, man. You like my bloodline, of course.
But we find a little bit more in the story. So Ione and Elm get married. Love that for them. And Elm's vows are 100 years. I'll love you for 100 years and an eternity after.
So sweet.
Well, and they end up having yellow irises. So for two reasons. So irises for Elsbeth's mom, and then yellow because Elm was very particular about that. And it has to do with the nightmare.
It's so sweet.
So I thought that was a cute thing, especially because Elm was so spicy to the nightmare all the time.
And Elsbeth.
Yeah.
Like, Elm's like, I can't stand either one of y'all. And he's like, I'm going to pick yellow in honor of y'all.
He's like, what, is he going to name his child Taxus?
Yeah, like, what is happening? We got Emery. Like Percival.
Like Percival. So we also find out that in the end that Raven decided not to heal himself because he didn't want to be. So there's a quote at the end where he's just monologuing to himself, and he says, he still was holding on to what had happened in the Alderwood. To his magic, to his secret legacy, to Taxus. And it was his way of honoring his past and his legacy. When I close this book, in the originals where Klaus is always yelling, Rebecca! Yeah. Like, I felt like I was yelling Rachel. I was like, Rachel! Why did you do this to me? It was so beautifully written.
Yes, it was a beautiful close to their story. Mm-hmm. I needed it, and it was perfect in every way. Mm-hmm. And I closed the book, and I'm like,
I know.
I'm crying.
I just felt like I had just this weight on my chest, Yes. It was such a good book, and some people didn't like it, and I think because usually with like fantasy books, there's usually more than two books, so like towards the second book, there was just a lot happening.
Yeah.
But I felt like everything wrapped up nicely. All of my questions were answered except for your one question about the cards. But
yeah, I like that I didn't have to wait for 8 books though.
Mm-hmm. I did too.
Some of that stuff, I do felt like she could have wrote the novella like we talked about Elm and Ione and made it a little bit okay. If she wanted to have 3 books, she could have. Mm-hmm. But the way she wrapped up the book was really well. Yeah. I really loved it. She pulled it together, even though we were going, hey-ya, hey-ya, hey-ya. Like, it was still a good way.
It was.
Just, oh my gosh, the poem, I died. I'm still about to cry over that. The poem sent me, I can't even look at the last couple pages of that book.
I know.
Because I just remember sitting in bed crying. Mm-hmm. It was one of those ones where you have to leave the room because you don't want to wake your husband because you're about to sob so ugly.
I think this last portion of the book, and then the portion where we find out more about Brutus and the Shepherd King and kind of their story and what happened and how the Rowans took over, those are my 2 favorite parts of the story.
Yes. I wonder if Brutus and Taxus, now that Taxus is on the other side,
I'm about to get your ass.
Round 2. And Brutus just with his wife like, okay, look, I've had time to think about it. And Dad's just like, I'm ready.
Well, I've had time too, my friend, and I'm pissed.
Yeah, let me tell you, the hormones of a teenage girl got me wired.
He was like, all right, kids, look away. All right.
Tilly, don't talk to me yet. Not ready. I got a mollywop Brutus. I'm going to send him to the veil. The double veil. Just Shepherd King just ready for violence.
Oh my god.
Didn't learn no lessons.
No, none at all.
He's like, I see no mercy, Brutus. You started this business. And Brutus is like, dude, you started this business.
This was 100 years ago.
You did the card. I just stabbed you because you killed my sister. Like, or killed your sister.
I was like, oh.
I stabbed you.
What story were you reading? Like,
the Alabama version.
It's like, did you get the deleted scenes book?
But I just, so good.
It was really good.
Oh, man.
So, well, guys, thanks for joining us in part 2 of Two Twisted Crowns.
Yay.
Yay. See you next time. Stay spicy. Yay. Bye. Bye.
But.